Cool. Hi guys. Uh, Trying to figure out my machine here. It's only been 3 years of working remote and on Teams. Nobody has it figured out yet. So let me see if I can just. Amazing. Cool. I hope everybody is good. I'm gonna switch on my camera shortly. I'm just trying to put on my makeup and just fix my face a little bit. I want to give everyone just 1 more minute and then we'll get started in 5 minutes. I just want to see if I can let everyone in, just make sure everyone is sitting down. Yeah, thank you so much for joining and thank you for signing up. There's actually quite a few people who joined, so appreciate that very much. I just want to give the guys, anyone who might be slightly late, just a bit of time to jump on the call and then we'll get started. I do have some polls that will be coming up in the session. I want to keep it as interactive as possible. So if you're able to multitask, you're better than me. Please just have a look out for those polls and respond where you can. Yeah, hoping you guys had a good Monday, good weekend, good long weekend, and you recovered. I know it's a Monday, so I'll try and keep it very short. Just get you guys back to your life. And you'll see in some of the polls that I'll share, I'm just trying to get an idea of where you're at in terms of digital, what you're trying to get out of these sessions, and where you want to end up eventually. So I appreciate your feedback. It's going to come in quite handy. I'm going to see if I can use my phone for this so that the quality is better. You're more than welcome to switch it off if it's messing with your bandwidth or anything like that. Cool. see. There we go. Cool. Much better. Cool. Hi, everybody. Um, I'm gonna try not to be all up in your face because I think it will be a bit distracting. But yeah, 6 minutes in. Thank you so much again for joining and welcome to the session, guys. I will be 100% honest with you. Uh, I came very close to canceling this session, mainly because of everything that's happening. But I'm glad we're here. I'm happy, and I look forward to having this session with you guys. And like I said, please be as interactive as possible. I have made sure that the comment section is open, and you are able to just chat with me, and you let me know what your thoughts, how you're doing, and that kind of thing. And then also just before the end of the session, so I want to structure this so that it makes sense for everyone. And I want to make sure that it's actually what you need to hear so that you're not sitting in a session that doesn't apply to you, or I'm sharing information that you don't necessarily need. So there will be another poll closer to the end of the session where I just want to find out where you are in terms of digital, what you want to get out of this. I have created a lot more work for myself than I need to, but I will try and break these up into different sessions. So we'll have sessions that focus on content creation specifically, sessions that focus on performance marketing, and also sessions that focus on media and all the other good things around digital. So obviously it's going to be quite a few sessions. You'll see at the end of the presentation, I've got some stuff that I will then share with you in terms of resources. And on the back end of this, I am putting together the slides as well as a few other resources you can use in your own time. So I will share those with you, as well as the dates for the different sessions that will happen. And then what I'll ask from you in the mails that are going to come through, I will also share let me just fix this. Cool. I'll also share the different registrations. So you're only signing up for what you're interested in. If you're not sure yet, you're more than welcome to attend all of the sessions. But I think just to keep it relevant to everyone, I want to make sure you are taken on the right route, and we don't keep you where we are not necessarily going to get the most out of this session. It's going to be a quick one. I will kind of have a look at like a top view of the stuff that I'll be doing throughout the sessions. And then what I'll do is in each of the sessions you'll be signing up for, we'll then break it down and go into a lot more detail. I'll be bringing in some other experts who are going to help us unpack some of the stuff we're talking about. So it's not only going to be just me, only going to listen to my voice. There will be other people that are going to come on. There's going to be a lot of, things that we need to unpack and focus on. It is digital media after all. So I'm excited to go on this journey with you. And yeah, I appreciate you guys being here. And I will get started now. And hopefully we've got everyone that needs to be in the room. Like I said, just look out for some of the polls in the chat section. I want to find out what days work best for everyone. Because I think that's also going to help me in terms of attendance and making sure that it's the right time, it's the right day. Your mind is also here and you're focusing and actually able to engage and listen. As we go and as we kind of control the number of people who attend, I will have sessions where it's a Q&A, you can ask questions, we can engage, and we can address specific questions. I am aware there's people who are already in the industry and some who are trying to get into it. So the way I've packaged some of the content is to keep all of that in mind. So please do also look out for that poll. And I also want to put your mind at ease. So it's not necessarily just only focus on the technical side of it. There are some people who not only in the industry, but in other industries that are maybe looking at more of the softer skills. So presenting, relationship management and that kind of stuff. And unfortunately, that also means you have to sign up for different sessions. But like I said, my experience and where it's gotten me, it's allowed me to be able to kind of tap into all those different aspects of what do you need, not only to get into the industry, but also if you're already in the industry, how to elevate yourself in your career, and also just networking on all those beautiful things. So I'll jump right in. Hopefully my camera continues working because I cannot see myself anymore. So I wanted to give you I think every time I attend these sessions, the question is always, okay, music, you can switch off now. The the conversations are always around, who's sending this to me, and do I really have the expertise that I needed, and that kind of stuff. And I think a lot of it will kind of tap into my career and how I got to where I am. And I think that's really going to be key as we go through the different sessions. So I'll take you through what I've done, and just kind of the work, well, not the work in this session, but in terms of the brands I've worked on, the jobs that I've done, because you'll see in the next slide, there's something quite key, I think, because a lot of the times when we talk about new careers or jobs in South Africa, there's always the conversation around what did you study, and what did your experience look like? 4 years experience for junior is a real thing. So I'm going to talk about all of those things and how to set up yourself, the right way, just so you are at least in a good place. The first one. So I am obviously Temengosis Scopella, and I'm not gonna do the whole background thing. A quick of it is that I come from the Eastern Cape and I'm based in Joburg, and I work for a media agency. And you'll see in the next slide, I've also worked across different industries in digital. The big one I wanted to start with is really just around skill stacking. And the big one with this is, we often think that you have to do one thing to be in a specific area or in a specific industry. One thing that I've learned that has worked for me really, really well, and even some of the clients I've worked with and some of the other people that I've worked with in the different teams, they also have the same thing, right? So you need to understand how you need to get there. And the biggest one for me that I think really not only sets you up to be an all-rounder, but also gets you in a better position to really move around in the digital space until you find exactly what you're looking for. The big one is skill stacking for me, which is just around being able to find your strong suit. But before you can do that, obviously you need to look at different things. You need to really tap into all the different elements of digital marketing until you find what's comfortable for you. The key in this is making sure that you're finding unique, and some of them not so unique, but you just need to find combination of skills that can really help you be adaptable and can differentiate you from the different people who are in the industry. But more importantly, it also means you can actually dip your toes in different things, but ultimately you will find one where you land and you feel like, I'm happy here and I want to stay here. So that's really a big one for me, and it's worked really well as I go through the industry. I will switch off my camera now because I just need to be a little more focused on what we are discussing. So the big one, I think, then for me is, like I said, diverse skill set that you need. It allows you to be flexible, but also it increases your value, right? If you understand content, if you understand the technical side of it, if you understand data, if you understand media, if you understand all of these different things, you are easier it's easier for you to adapt, but also to solve problems. I think that's the biggest thing, is that on digital, whether you're building a personal brand or you're working with specific brands, you need to be solving a problem. You can't necessarily just create content, right? Even if you're building a personal brand, what these platforms will always tell you is you need to find a niche that has a problem or something that they need, you can help them out with, and that's what you're doing. You need to be adding value. So skill stacking allows you to be able to do that, and you'll see why the personal brand thing also comes into play, as well as when you're working on brands. And once you have all of these skills and you have them combined together, it just gives you that competitive edge where you're able then to really kind of tap into different things. So this comes through really for me in terms of where I worked, right? I started off at the JD Group, and this was a sales position, and I worked there for a couple of years. But really what it was a learning curve for me, because it was just around, buying, tendering companies if they're not able to fulfill their work. We help them out, we rebrand them, and we get them back in the market and help them fulfill their contracts, and we made money from that. From the Jaguar Security Holdings. Sorry, JD Group was just a pure sales. Then I worked in publishing for a couple of years. People always find this one weird. I worked in publishing, but that was also around problem solving, right? So I looked at an industry where at the time I wasn't employed and was kind of crashing and sleeping on a friend's couch, and I needed to understand what the next step was for me. Digital was picking up then. So what I did was found an industry where I felt like digital was lacking, and there was an opportunity for me to get in and innovate and kind of drive that industry in a specific direction. So I went into a publishing company, Chakana Media, and I was there for a couple of years. years, working with authors, the sales team, the marketing team, the designers, as well as the publishers themselves. So that included book launches, online streaming of book launches, podcasts when podcasting was still fairly new, as well as being able to put together succinct and really informative sales material. Then I went and worked on Homemakers. Homemakers used to have an expo at the Dome before We Buy Cars bought it, and I used to work there. And for a long time, we worked on different brands in the home industry, but I also managed to work on brands outside of the expo. I worked on marketing for the Taba Eco Hotel, which is now also has Taba Eco Estates. And I worked there for a couple of years. So that was also a really good experience for me. But I think also the magazine they had. So they had a magazine where advertisers would come in if you wanted a home service provider, you could find it there. They still have an amazing website you can go to and check out if you want a plumber, a kitchen, remodeling person, whatever you needed, you can find it on there. So that was part of some of the work that we did under Homemakers as well. And of course the different events that they had. They were very big on that. I say it's come back. It's really a useful place to be as well. Then I moved. My first agency experience was CBR marketing, and when I joined, I was a paid performance specialist. That's what I had started doing. That is something I picked up when I was working at the publishing house, right? And then I moved to a senior digital strategist, and this was mainly because it was just around how I applied myself and how I spoke to the team and really made sure that they understood what my value was, and I worked with the strategy team. And when the time came, they were like, cool, please come work on the digital strategy role. And then within about 2 years of that, I was a strategy and content lead and was working on all of these brands across the CBR marketing. And it was a performance agency as well as a creative and brand agency. So that also really, expanded my knowledge. And then I moved to Wavemaker, which was a media agency. So just again, the skill stacking thing and looking at all the different experiences that you can put together. And I worked on Huawei, Tiger Brands, and a few other brands when I was there. And these are the brands that I was working for at the time. And then immediately after that, I moved to Stockholm. I was an integrated media, which just means through the line, so above the line in digital. And then I then moved to Stockholm, which is where I currently am with the Publicist Group. And I am working on Mondelez with all of these beautiful brands, which no doubt you're familiar with. And I'm working there as a strategic digital lead, driving digital innovation for them and making sure that they're setting themselves up for for a bright future for all their brands, especially because their key focus is on Gen Zs. So that's a big one to understand just where our audience is going and where we need to be. Cool. So in a nutshell, that's me. There was also a stint where I co-owned a radio station, but that's a conversation for another day. Then I wanted to quickly have a look at, why digital marketing specifically. And I understand some of you might already be in the industry and some are not, but I think the reason why I really wanted to be in this industry and I dove, head first was the fact that I know it's always evolving with tech evolving and all that stuff. It's really a gold mine when it comes to driving yourself and building a career. But also there's a lot of opportunities, right? And I'll walk you through what those opportunities are. And when we break down and we go into the different sessions, we'll also be touching in detail on all of those. And then, of course, there's a demand for skilled digital marketers, right? And every time we keep hearing that we're looking for people, but we're struggling to find skilled digital people. Believe it or not, South Africa has an unemployment issue. We're struggling to find people. And that's why I thought it was important to do these sessions just to get more people into the industry because it's growing like, at that rate. Then obviously this session for now is kind of just to take you through the different opportunities that are in digital marketing, the level of difficulty that associated with each of those, but also I want to talk to you about what resources are available to help you upskill. There's free ones and there's paid ones, obviously, and then also an insider's cheat sheet that will just help accelerate what you're trying to do. I will share that with you on mail for everyone that registered. Then just wanted to quickly show you just in terms of some of the really popular jobs and what the industry is looking for, and like I said, these go through the different agencies, creative, digital, media, even on the sales side of it with media owners and everything. So you can go through this in detail. Like I said, the slide will be shared. Some of these are also stuff that you can use as a freelancer, and also cognizant of the fact that you can just leave your job and jump into another career. But there is a way to get started to build that experience I spoke about, but also to get yourself into a better position to then apply for other jobs, right? It could be hold on, PowerPoint, media buyer, copywriter, it can be a planner, a social media manager. And this isn't just to say you can start for a brand, you can even start for yourself, you can even start for an individual who's building a personal brand, and you can actually get you to some of these positions where you can actually able to build experience that you can then put in your CV. So just a couple of things, just to give you an idea of what the digital marketing space is and what it really has. And some people necessarily don't look at some of this stuff as jobs, right? And I think that's where the opportunity comes in. So stuff like content marketing, and this is where you really work on, like I said at the beginning of the presentation, you need to be solving a problem. So your content needs to add value. And you need to start thinking around, okay, what kind of content do I need to be making, and make sure that I am, creating content that's engaging for a target audience. When I say target audience, it's just really anyone who's going to read that content, and they need to get exactly what they're looking for. And this ranges from, blog posts to YouTube videos to social media, as well as even memes, right? So, and I think this is something that has really made it so much easier, is that the stuff that you relate to is on a personal basis, the stuff that brands need to apply in order for them to actually be relevant to audiences, because you want them to speak to you in the language that you also speak to your friends and everyone online. So that's something to keep in mind, is that all of this stuff is actually stuff you can do to secure yourself a job and in the digital space. And yeah, Drake is a good source for memes. So maybe or can also follow that. In terms of difficulty, I would say it's somewhere in the middle. It's not easy, but it's also it's not incredibly hard, especially if you're just doing the job and paying attention. And the skills you'll need obviously is writing. You need to be a good storyteller. That's always the thing we get back from everyone. And when we do research for our brands, that you need to be able to tell story. But you also need to make sure that story has the right information. So that's where SEO comes in, search engine optimization. That really just means using the right words. So when people are searching on Google for content, they're finding your content. You need a strategy for that. If you're posting on social media, on your blog, on your YouTube, or on even on social media, if you're posting on Meta platforms or LinkedIn or TikTok, it's completely different things. But you need to learn that as you go. And then obviously to get you started, it's like I said, you can start as a blogger, you can be a freelance writer, you can look at internships and learnerships that are available. I know Group M, it has one. I know Publicis has one as well. And then there's also online courses. They are free. There is some that are paid for, but for the vast majority of these, you can learn some stuff online. And what my absolute favorite is the University of YouTube. You can go so far and just searching on YouTube and finding the videos from experts that will actually help you get there. Then the other one is obviously social media marketing. Everyone talks about this, but I'm not sure if we really truly understand what actually involves and what will be needed. But it's also just around growing a brand's presence on social media. And I'm not talking about a Red Bull as a brand or a Cadbury. I'm also talking about personal brands, yourself, people influencers, or anyone who's trying to build that online presence. It also involves content creation, involves community management, and social listening and data analytics. Social listening is really just about understanding exactly what people are talking about, understanding what they're saying about the content they're creating or the brand you're working for, and using that to then inform your content strategy. Perfect example of that is that you can get a brand where they have one comment about their product, and they use that one comment to have an entire 3 months worth of content or campaign, just based off someone's one comment that they made on their social media. So that's key. Community management is also around making sure that your people stay engaged. If someone comments on your content, be ready to reply, be ready to really continue that conversation. Social media, I think that's another big one. Social media is it's supposed to be social. It's an engagement. It's engagement platforms. You need to be social. You need to engage. It's not just about you posting the content and living it. And it's the same for brands. And we're always pushing that to make sure, they have that as part of their strategy. And that's why it's also a job that actually exists that you can apply and work as. Then you've got data and analytics. You'll see there's going to be a big session around this. You need to understand the data. When I say the data, you need to know what time of the day are people engaging with brands or your content, when, where, how are they using memes, emojis, commenting, are they downloading, saving your videos, understand how they're interacting with your content from yourself as a human being, as well as when you're working on brands. Then that could also help you understand how you need to craft your social media strategy as well. So if people are more into saving your content because it's informative, start crafting your content to say, save this, or, give me your email address. And then when you download it, I'll send you in a detailed one, or that kind of thing. That also helps in building an audience. And then again, social media management, content creation, analytics, and customer service. Those are the skills that you have. And when I say customer service, trust me, even as a personal brand, you will need to have good customer service to engage and, have the time and the patience for the people who are consuming your content. The way to get you started is you can manage a personal account or a small business account. You can, offer your services to a small business for free. You can also take online certification courses. I've included some of them in the deck. When I share them, I'll share the links so you're able to go through and have a look. I will have a session that walks you through some of those so you understand which ones work for you. And then again, internships, learnerships, those are always key. Yes, they work on stipends, but it is something that will get you very far. Then you also have search engine optimization. This one is a bit more on the technical side, but it's also, if you think about it from a general approach to content and how you consume content online, that's also going to be a key one, right? So in terms of, you want to be able to make sure that if I'm on your website, the image is amazing, the content is relevant to what I'm looking for. Fun fact, if you post content and someone ends up on your website and they say this content isn't relevant to what I was looking for, Google takes your website and drops it down the rankings because you are creating content that's not relevant. And that also hurts what kind of people come to your website. And then there's also the building of the website. I will set up a session in terms of, this is a freelance thing. So if you want to build websites, the WordPress, there's Wix, there's all these other different platforms that makes it easy for you. You're more than welcome to also attend that session. This will break into more detail because it does require a bit more deep dive in terms of how all of this stuff is structured. But if you're going to be a blogger, if you're going to have a website, if you're going to have any kind of sort of SEO approach to your content, this will be key. You need to use the right words for people to find you. You need to say the right things for people to say this content is useful. It's the same on YouTube. If your video is not adding value, it's not contributing to your SEO ranking, it will not be suggested on the search results or on new things to watch. It's moderate to hard. Again, like I said, there's a bit of technical knowledge that's needed here. You'll need to be able to do keyword research. You need to be able to do all of this on page and off page SEO. You need to be able to understand analytics, data analytics from the previous slide. That's also very key here. To get yourself started, you can look at SEO specific courses and internships, or you can practice on personal projects. So you write your blog post, you run it through some SEO analyzers. It will tell you exactly what's wrong and what's right with it. You start learning that and you start adapting based on that. This goes as far as your captions, especially with LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a preferred platform for SEO. So if you're trying to be discovered or found, LinkedIn is a big social platform that can also help with you being discoverable. So that's something you need to keep in mind as well. And then pay-per-click, this is more on the paid media specialist side. This is, I think, one of the most popular positions as well, and mainly because there's so many accounts on one brand. Like on the account I work on, there's about 10 active brands. Each one needs to run ads on Meta, on TikTok, on all these different platforms. And you once you have the ability to run these ads, and you don't necessarily need to be prolific on all of them. You can be a social only and you still be able to set yourself up. There's a lot of brands that are looking for freelancers to do this because they can't afford full time. That's an opportunity for you to get started as well. It's moderate to hard in the sense that it depends on which platforms you're working on and what the brand is asking for. And this goes as far as getting leads for someone who wants to buy a car, but it can be as easy as, I just want people to see my brand on Facebook, for instance. You need to be able to do keyword research, like I said. captions important. It need to be the right things that people are searching for. You need to be able to write your copy. You need to be able to manage, your budgets and make sure you're not overspending it. And then you need also to analyze so that you are informing what you're doing in the next campaign. There's a lot that can get you started. There's online certifications. It's on the deck as well. There's internships and learnerships, and you can also start by managing small campaigns for individuals, for small businesses, and for yourself. Then we've got, sorry, I skipped one there. Then you've got analytics and data and analysis. This one is really just about understanding what you're looking at. If you go to your Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever after this session, you go to your insights and you look at the data that it has. It will tell you how many people are looking at your posts. When are they looking at your posts? Is it from a mobile or from a desktop? All of this beautiful data. But for brands, it's critical because then you get to understand where your audience is at, when exactly they want to engage with your content, and how they want to engage with their content. And it goes back to the content strategy that I spoke about, but it also helps you, in terms of just being able to inform your clients and say, look, you're posting on Saturdays a lot. Your audience is only online on Tuesdays. You actually need to start posting on Tuesdays. This is the type of content you're posting, but they're replying to you with memes and emojis. Maybe that's what you need to be looking at. And the skills here are data analysis. You need to be able to read Google Analytics and other platforms on the different ad managers. You also need to know how to work with data. Then there's online courses. Yes, it will feel like a lot because it's data, it's analytics, it's insights and all that. But once you understand once you get the basics of it, you can then start to really elevate yourself from there. And also hands-on practice, guys. There's free platforms out there. If you can get your hands on and sign up on one of them, the easiest one being, Meta. You can get a business account as your own person, and you start working with that. You get an idea of what this is. But remember also, it's the skill and being able to run this campaign, not necessarily having worked on massive campaigns that you need to get started, right? Say for instance, your brand is repositioning and you have 7 videos that speak to that new positioning. The data you could be looking at is I want the people to know I'm repositioning, right? If you are changing your tone or you're changing how your brand is seen, you want them to be able to see that. You want them to engage with this and let you know if it's a good idea, but you also want to build a connection with them with the new positioning. Do they relate to it? Do they think it fits your brand? Then you can look at stuff like video views, engagement, and sentiment. And it's not just looking at the numbers, right? If your video views, if you're looking at it as cool, I've got 7 videos, I've got a tag at the end of the video. The tag is kind of like, the you've got game thing they do at the end of game ads. If people are not getting to the end of that, nobody would have known game has repositioned to you've got game. So you look at, are people watching my videos to the end? If they're not, that means our repositioning campaign is not working. We need to move that to the beginning of the video so people can see that game is now a new, hip and cringe brand. I don't know if that's what they're going for, but those are kind of the stuff that you need to look at. And then you look at the engagement stuff. Are they engaging with this? Do they, is the positive sentiment around it? Then you start to interpret. It's not just for brands, it's for people as well. People will tell you this content feels off for you if you're a personal brand. We don't know you like this. It's not criticism. I mean, the internet is toxic, but this stuff helps you craft your personal brand and brands as a whole. Then the big one, which I think a lot of people get excited about, is creator marketing, making sure you're working with brands, to influence and drive brand engagement. But it's very important to understand what you're getting yourself into and also build it from the get-go. And when you do get brand, it's not changing who you are, it's not changing your content, it still feels like it's you working with these brands. It's not as easy as people will make you believe. It's easy to build any audience, but to build an engaged audience, to build an audience that will actually have brands excited to join you in this journey and to invite you to be part of their brand, it's very difficult. Then you also need to start with, like I said, build your own social platform, create branded content already before you get paid for it. So you get an idea of how to create content for products and that kind of stuff so that it doesn't feel awkward and cringe once you start getting that the contracts and briefs. Then curate an audience. Curating an audience means you need the right audience. If you want to get fashion influencer campaigns, make sure you're building fashion related content. I understand it's difficult to be niche for a lot of people, but there are brands that apply to everyone. So you need to start thinking about that as you create your own personal platforms, right? Cool. I took through kind of some of like the top line stuff, but like I said, I will be breaking those into detail. If you want to go into influencer marketing, we'll do that. If you want to go into the more performance side where you're setting up ads, we'll do that. If you want to go into media, creative, all of that will be different sessions, and those will be shared on your mail as well. When it comes to resources, this is some key stuff that I really, really always go back to this day. And I think they're key for anyone who wants to get started in the industry. One is the others are about certifications. The other one is just around reading up and listening and understanding the industry as a whole. Some of the info you'll see that you'll see in these sessions as well, but you're more than welcome to go back and then do your own, reading and listening. Google Garage gives you free courses as well as HubSpot and Coursera. That's a big one. LinkedIn Learning is a nice, bite short videos that will also get your mind going, especially for personal brands. And then you also have Meta Blueprint, where it also talks through what everyone else is doing. That's amazing that you can look at and get inspired. And then, like I said, my favorite, University of YouTube, which is where you can get access to people you wouldn't necessarily have access to anywhere else, but it just makes it easier for you to really engage and learn what they know and what they've been through. Some websites that you also need to look at. These are all ranging from content, influencer, working in the industry, as well as the technical stuff. So like this SEO I spoke about earlier. These are sites that you need to also be visiting. I will be adding hyperlinks to all of these. So when you click through, you can also just have a look. No pressure to go through it yet until we've gone through other sessions and broken it down in more detail, because then that's going to help you. It is going to give you context in terms of what you're looking at and really what you are looking to achieve with these sessions. And then there's some podcasts which are my favorite to go through things now. Just listening in bite-sized, you listen to digital marketing podcasts, and it's a really, really, really nice, informative one, but it's also done in an easier to digest kind of way. It doesn't feel heavy. And everyone who works on this podcast is also really fun to listen to. So it makes it a lot more fun for you to actually learn and understand what's happening there. And then in terms of really finding the right one for you, that's up to you. Again, it depends on what you're interested in. Are you more on the content side, or are you more on the performance and media and that kind of stuff? But I've made sure that it's a nice mixture so that you're able to find the right sources that will work for you specifically. And then in terms of books to read, I mean, I don't know how many people still read books, but I still have my publishing days, and I still have my reading lens that I still apply. So these are some really amazing books you can look at by some well-known, seasoned individuals in the industry. You're more than welcome to find the ebooks or the audiobooks as well. So that's, for me, I think listening to something and trying to understand, you can rewind and go back. It's easier to focus on them when you're listening. And these are some amazing books that you can really dig deep and just dig deeper into the industry. Gary is I think Gary is Gary. If anyone isn't familiar with who Gary Vaynerchuk is, it's just another way of approaching the industry, where he speaks exactly to the fact that you can do anything and get started, and your day-to-day life can become content, can become a career, can become a freelance thing. And I think his book is a great one to start with. And then obviously, as you go deeper into your journey, you can have a look at some of these books that I've suggested here. And then just some key things to you growing. I think this is a big one. It's not just for digital, but it's for every career really, and what you need to get started in. The biggest one for me is that you need to advance your skill, but it's not necessarily that you need to pay money or go to school. Use some of the resources I've shared, and you will definitely get the information that you need. If you have questions, my LinkedIn profile is still there. More than welcome to jump into my DMs and ask your questions, and I'm happy to provide more detail than we can in some of the sessions. Be aware of the latest trends. When we talk about trends as individuals, trust me, they're important and key in the industry we work in, especially for brands, because if you want to be relatable, you need to do the things that your audience is doing. And obviously with a brand lens, you need to have a strong digital presence. The strong digital presence is really just around making sure that you have influence, you are sharing information that's really critical, and that people who are employing or brands will read and interact. This was a big thing for me. I had a lot of pressure because I knew I'll be sharing my opinions, but the people I work for, the brands I work on, are also following me on LinkedIn. So everything I said, I would scrutinize because I don't want to say the dumb thing. And then in the next presentation, they're like, "Oh, he's the idiot who said this." So it's important, but it also helps you to really research everything, and you learn in the process. But the biggest one, understanding data. Guys, trust me. I mean, Google has gone back now. They're not gonna, deprecate, or they're not letting go of cookies, but understanding data and how it works is critical. The information you share online when you log in with your Google account on all these websites, that really is a gold mine for us. Even the data you share because you're hoping to win something, we take that data and we'll use it to build a campaign that speaks to you so close and it's so relatable with you. That's what you need to understand. And don't be afraid to take risks either. So you try these different things. Trust me, even if you don't win with all of them, you land on something that works for you. And that's where I think the skill stacking comes in, where you're able to build on all of this. And always seek feedback. That's the biggest one. We hate feedback as creative people, understand that. But I think getting feedback is one of the key things, good or bad. It's always useful. And I think that's the journey to really making sure that you get started with digital, because there's so many different aspects to it, and nuances that you need to understand. And by yourself, it's not possible. So you need to always be seeking feedback from other people in the industry or wherever you can find them. And then as we get closer to the end of this session, just in terms of where we will be heading in terms of what we need to do, like I said, I'll send you links to sign up for the right sessions so you can go through the right course and not go through everything. On the 26th of August, we'll be doing content marketing. This is just about creating engaging content, what that looks like for personal brands, what that looks like for brands, what that looks like for anyone who's trying to be an influencer. And then also a couple of weeks later, we'll be looking at the balancing act of social media marketing. There's a lot that goes into that as well. And I think everyone nowadays gets one influencer campaign and they, title themselves social media marketer. But there's a lot that goes into this. And I think it will be very beneficial for everyone to break it down so you understand and see if it's something you even want to go to. Then we're also going to have search engine optimizations for those who want to work more in the data side. I'm looking at websites and blogs and as well as content, but all of this stuff fits into each other. But you will get the opportunity to see what journey you want to take, and I will then definitely help you in terms of making sure we're taking the right, through the right journey, and we're not boring you with stuff that you don't need. Like I said, I will be sharing some polls in this meeting and some stuff that you can engage with. And I also want to know where you are with the digital marketing space, and you can look at the comments, and you are more than welcome to then just share where you are and what you want to do. You're getting started. Do you want to join the industry start, or you working, in a different industry, or maybe you're looking at just elevating where you are? I've had a lot of conversations with people talking about, I'm a planner, I'm a, social media manager, I'm a community manager. I want to move. What's the next stage for me? What's the next step? What can I do? All of those kind of things. And it's kind of the reasons why I actually came up with this. And I want to start helping where I can and take people through the journey. And that's why I want to bring other specialists and experts in these different fields to make sure we're talking to this and we're helping you and really getting you started on a very strong note as you go through your digital marketing career. And that's pretty much that. But I think if you can just have a look at the polls in the comment section, just let me know where you are in terms of your industry, where you're working, if you want, why you signed up for this. But more importantly, help me understand what you want to get out of it so that I can then craft content that really speaks to you. And there's also going to be some fun quizzes just in terms of, just see what you understand about digital. It's easy. It's easy to moderate, not hard quizzes. And I'll appreciate your engagement in that as well. And then, like I said, in a lot of these sessions, I'll be taking comments and just seeing what you want to ask, if you have any questions or anything specific. So by all means, do feel free to engage. But yes, that is pretty much it for today's session, guys. It took a lot longer than I thought it would take. So obviously, that means I will then be adjusting my times for the next one. And I will definitely be including display ads in September. So you'll see as part of there's I think content marketing will include that, search engine optimizations. There will be across the board in terms of all of digital, where you are and what you need to do. And it's not even based on how many people are going to attend that session, because ultimately this will still be available for everyone else after the fact. So even if in a session we've got 5 people, I will still do that session because it's important to those 5 people, and we'll get everyone else to then kind of look into the recordings and what we'll be posting online. And then in terms of the strat side of it. So when I talk about content marketing, right, and social media marketing and all of this, there will be strategy involved as a top line of that. So yes, Superior will definitely have a strategy layer to it. So I am a strategist by profession, so that will also be with the strat lens, where we take you through what the approach to the strategy will be, what is based on what briefs look like, how to interpret those briefs, and how to then come up with a strategy, and then what the execution of that looks like. So there's going to be quite a lot of content that goes into each of these. And even with the influencer stuff, there needs to be a strategy behind what you're doing. So I will be looking at all of those with the thing that I'm really comfortable and I do on a day to day, which is the strategy aspect of it. So that will also be included. And what I'll need from you guys is, again, communication. Just let me know how detailed you and your sessions to be, and I'll go into more detail with that. As time goes and as I get more time to do this, I will also have private sessions where we can get 2, 3 people in the room, so we can actually have a conversation and we can talk about specific questions that you have, because I can't answer every question that everyone has, right? So that will also be key for me to provide that personal time with you so that we're able to do that. But I think what's important is just for you to feedback and let me know what we need to be looking at and what you really need for us. So that will also be key. Would be really, really, really cool. So thanks again for the comments and for engaging. Look, I think doing a bit of everything will be key. Like I said, before you get to specialize in something, you will definitely need to understand how it all works. For me, I can tell you 100% I benefit from having worked in publishing, in a radio station, in content and digital, in media. It really helps me be useful to the brands I work for, but also more importantly, to understand the people I'm working with. In the beginning, I talked about managing relationships. It's not just for you to get a job or for you to get a freelancing thing. It's also when you're working within an agency. Where I'm working now, I need to work with an Ogilvy, a Saatchi, a VML, or all these different agencies. I need to work with the PR team. I need to work with the influencer agents. I need to work with the brand teams. I need to work with my planners, everybody. And it's key to have those relationships. And that's where being able to understand and do everything, it will be important for you to get into the industry. That's 100% will be part of the sessions. And yes, I will share the recording. Nyasha will share the recording with everyone, including a summary of the slides as well, including the resources that I shared with links to each one of them. So you are more than welcome to go through the presentation and have a look at all of that stuff. And luckily, for everyone who signed up, you get this stuff firsthand, and then everyone else will just have to watch the recording and we can take it from there. And then in terms of, so Brittany, your comment around, growing a small business on social media and generating leads, some of these sessions will focus on that exactly, because it will apply to personal brands, small businesses, bigger brands. But I will have a journey where it only focuses on small businesses, for instance, where your small business journey needs to look like, from when you're opening a social media page all the way down to moving down the funnel: awareness, consideration, conversion, what you need depending on what your business is. I think what would be key for that one is to have separate sessions for a person to walk me through what their business is and what we need to do. So that will definitely be something that we'll be looking at. And then Matseleng said, I'm more interested in paid media. I'm currently working as an above the line media planner, so I have more experience in ATL. Amazing. So again, when we go through, paid media specialists, social media marketing will cover all of that. But it helps for me to understand where you're at and what you understand from an above the line, because a lot of it actually does fit through to digital if you have that thinking. Um, I don't know if there's some people that I've worked with who are amazing above the line, and when you hear them present digital or put together a digital strategy, their thinking and their approach is so unique and different because of what they've been exposed to before, and it triggers thoughts in how I want to approach my strategy, which again brings me back to skill stacking. Nothing is ever useless in digital or in advertising and marketing, so that's going to come in handy. Trust me. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and thank you for the comments and engaging as well. I will share the recording, and over time, I will then share a full calendar of how these courses are gonna be structured. You can then only register for the ones that you want, and we'll take it from there. But yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys being here and you giving me extra time. We will chat on LinkedIn. We will chat on other platforms as well, and we will see where we can take this. Yeah, and I can actually say the jitters are gone now, I guess. Or we can actually start to have a lot more fun as we go, because I'm not gonna lie to you, this was nerve-wracking. And I will be on the comment section of this after the session, just so I respond to everyone's comments. But yeah, trust me, it will definitely be inclusive of everyone. The whole idea of me saying skill stacking at the beginning was because I know whatever skill you have, you can convert it into a career or a job in some form or another within the digital space. So everything will be included. But thank you guys. Have a good evening, and we will chat on LinkedIn. Feel free to send me a message or comment in the post that I shared, and I will be engaging with you there. Send me your suggestions as well in terms of what you want to see and what you're excited to see, and we'll start doing a lot more of those as well. So in the next week or so, expect the recording and the slides as well. Have a good evening. Goodbye.